Yo guys, just reacting to the huge news that just dropped. There's been a leak from the creators of Dragon Ball Super, Toei Animation, and apparently there's a brand new Dragon Ball Super movie coming in 2022. And boy, oh boy, am I hyped. So straight away I thought, man, who's the villain gonna be? So I'm just going to do a quick discussion on that. But before we get into it, let me know down below in the comments who you want the villain to be and who you think the villain will be realistically. So there's a few options here that it could be. Option 1 could be someone completely new we've never seen before. A, Dragon Ball Super original character. Wouldn't mind that, to be honest. Option 2, which is likely, it could be Moro, who just recently had a huge arc in the Dragon Ball Super manga. But to be honest, I'm not sure if they could put that into one movie because that arc is like long. Huge arc. A lot of stuff happens in that arc. So not sure if they could squeeze that all down into one movie, but we'll see. And then option 3, which is what I would like to see personally, is them rehash an old Dragon Ball Z villain. So someone from the non-canon movies. And hopefully we get to see Cooler made canon. Now I'd be so hyped for that. There's a few they could go with. They could go with Cooler, they could go with Janemba, they could go with Bojack, they could go with Turles. There's so many options, and honestly I can't wait to see who is going to be the main villain. So obviously it's May 7th right now. Goku Day is May 9th. So they may release a little bit more information actually on the day, because the little information that we have received was from a leak on their website. So haven't got too much to go off of right now, but all we do know is that a movie is coming in 2022. And this has literally made my day, man, because the future of Super has been a little bit up in the air. We knew Super was coming back, but we didn't know when, and it's nice to have an actual date on it, something to look forward to. But yeah, anyway, so what would I like to see personally? So obviously I wouldn't mind a brand new individual character, someone exclusive for the brand new movie. Wouldn't mind that at all. Of course Moro would be nice, but like I just said, it's too much for one movie. So if they do it, is it going to be a little bit rushed? How long's the movie going to be? Because so much goes on in that arc. So maybe they could do what they did with Resurrection F, where they make a movie, then they also release an arc on its own within the Super. But the only problem with that is Resurrection F was literally one encounter with Frieza. He came to Earth, fought Vegeta, fought Goku, and then that was it really. There wasn't much more to Resurrection F, whereas the Moro saga is literally a whole arc. There's so many different encounters with him on different planets. There's whole little training periods, meeting brand new characters, etc. So for this discussion, I'm going to rule out Moro, so that's one option down. So the two options that we have is of course an original character and then a rehashed DBZ character. So if you had to ask me, put me on the spot, what would I like to see personally? 100% it would be a rehashed DBZ villain. I wouldn't mind seeing a brand new character, it's always nice. Seeing someone who's exclusive, you're in suspense, you don't know what they're capable of, you don't know what their backstory is, what their motives are, that's always nice. But there's so many DBZ villains that deserve to be canon, that have such a huge fan base, such a huge following. For example, Cooler, huge following. I don't know one person that would not be hyped to see Cooler made canon. Even Turles. Turles is a little bit more unrealistic because we have Goku Black now, so the chances of having another evil Goku is a little bit slim, but they could easily bring out a Turles movie and the vast majority wouldn't complain because of how much of a following that he has. But, because of his Goku Black similarity, I'm going to rule him out as well. I'm going to say that he's pretty unlikely to feature in the new movie. So that's Turles down, that's Moro down. So next up, who do we have next? Bojack. Now, Bojack as a villain wasn't great. He wasn't really anything new. Didn't really have anything about him that, stood out. He was treacherous. He was a backstabbing piece of shit, basically. Just the same as every villain, more or less. But what Bojack Unchained, which is the name of the movie he was in, is known for, and what Bojack is mainly known for, is the the second appearance of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who at the time was so crazy popular. They basically used Bojack Unchained as a way of bringing Super Saiyan 2 Gohan back. But apart from that, you know, he's not the most memorable villain there is, so I don't think it'd get the best response from the community, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna rule out Bojack as well. You know, I don't think Bojack is really a realistic possibility. So in my opinion, we have two left. Of course, we have Cooler, and we also have Janemba. So if you're not familiar with Janemba, he was in Fusion Reborn, which is known for being like the most visually exceptional Dragon Ball Z movie, original movie of its time. Like, I remember watching Fusion Reborn as a kid and just looking at how the visuals were just crazy. Like when we saw Gogeta for the first time, when he went Super Saiyan, Janemba punched him on his forehead, he just looked at him, blew him back with his Stardust Breaker, I believe it's called, and just had me in awe, man. But realistically, when we think of Fusion Reborn, do we remember it for Janemba? Or do we remember it for all the qualities of the movie, like, you know, seeing Gogeta for the first time and the visual quality of the movie? So, I don't know, man. I mean, Janemba was cool, you know, real cool. He was pretty unique, you know, the way he used to like fade in and out, and his sword, he was menacing, man. Don't get me wrong, Janemba was a very menacing villain. Like, at the time, during the movie, you felt like the Saiyans had no chance, which is of course why we saw Gogeta for the first time. They had to fuse to be able to beat him. So, you know, don't get me wrong, huge love for Janemba, but as a villain, you know, he hasn't got much backstory, hasn't got much personality to him. And these days, you need a personality to be able to make a movie work. Like, it's not like the old school 90s or 80s or whatever, where there's a little bit of action and everyone just loves it. Like, I think we're a little bit past that now, where a villain needs to have a backstory. A villain needs to have a personality. But, I mean, of course they could rehash him, completely rehash him, have an overhaul, make him completely different, you know, give him a backstory, all that stuff. But Janemba didn't even speak. Like, he just made noises, really. He just looked really cool, and he was powerful as hell. So I think even him, he's a little bit unrealistic. So that just leaves one, and who I would absolutely love to see, and of course that is Cooler. You know, there's so much they can do with him, so many paths, so many ways they could just use him as a character. I mean, you could use him as a complete monster, more powerful than Frieza, hates Frieza because Frieza was given preferential treatment even though he's the weaker sibling, or they could make him team up with Frieza. Of course, you know, Frieza is still alive in the anime and in the manga, so they could always go down that route, because recently Frieza is like, you don't really see Frieza as a threat anymore. You know, Goku and Vegeta confused, they can always go to Vegeta Blue, Gogeta Blue, but realistically that's not even necessary anymore, because Goku has mastered Ultra Instinct and Vegeta has also grown now to a point where he's way past Frieza too. So imagine this, yeah? Let me just set the tone for the new movie. So imagine this, yeah? It goes back 30-40 years to when King Cold was still alive, Frieza was a child, Cooler was a child. Cooler was way too sadistic to become a space pirate, killed everything in his path, destroyed planets for no reason, was literally just too sadistic to keep around, so King Cold puts him in the universal prison. Frieza, knowing that he can never ever be Goku or Vegeta, says to one of his minions, yo, listen, I hate to do this because he's the more powerful sibling, but I need to break my brother out of the universal prison. I need his help. Frieza breaks him out, manipulates Cooler into believing that Frieza killed King Cold because of what he did to his brother, but he then met his demise at the hands of the Saiyans. So he's literally, he's more or less blaming them for the reason why he's been in prison for the whole of his adult life. Cooler, of course, he's down, believes his brother. They go to Earth, and even though they're ridiculously strong, they still can't quite beat the combined force of Vegeta and Goku. So just when it looks like Frieza and Cooler are outmatched, they both start chuckling and then reveal that they can also fuse. Then boom, Cooler and Frieza fuse, and you have got a ridiculously strong villain who would most likely beat anyone we've ever seen before. You know, Broly, Jiren, anyone like that, because the combined force of Cooler and Frieza, that is something that would just be absolutely ridiculous. So this is of course something that I've just made up on the spot, literally while recording this video. I just thought, wow, like imagine if they fused them both. But there's so many routes, different directions, and so many different ways they could introduce Cooler, and I'd be down for it 100%. So yeah, this is basically my reaction to the news, what I'd like to see personally and realistically, I guess. Let me know down below who you want to see, who would make you just be completely hyped for this new movie. Thanks for watching as always. Like, subscribe if you're new, and I'm out.